What's up? Welcome back to Ringworm. We got some projects. Man, do we have some projects. The cold snap we had was significant. It was a bit much. In fact, before we can do the project that I want to do, we got to go in there and take care of crap inside the cabin. You know, all my shower buckets underneath my bunk. I turned the heat down on low and then left for a couple days and a night. I came back, and last night I was trying to get something out from under the bunk, and I looked back there. It's always cold back under there because, you know, there's no blower on the propane furnace. But the water not only froze a little bit, it froze enough to push the top off of at least one of the buckets for the water to come raining out, and then froze, luckily, on my sleds in there and not on the floor. A week or two in one of the videos, I was talking about making some workbenches. One that fits on here. I'm thinking maybe sits on these two side rails, these little fence things, because that's where I always put my boards, and I work here, take this wherever I'm going to be. Got all my tools underneath. I mean, we could probably make it out of whatever we want. We could probably make it as heavy as we want, as long as I can pick it up easily and put it on there. But I know I've got at least one great curved fat pine log out there. Yeah, I don't know, with the cold, the freezing, and the fresh snow, I don't know if the four-wheeler will pull it up the hill. I don't know if I don't know what kind of traction that digger's got, but I can't imagine it's very good in powder. But if we can't retrieve any of that stuff right now, we'll go back to the kitchen lumber pile and we'll just find some super knotty big fat pine boards. And then, before we do any of that, actually after we mop up the water, I gotta go take the door off the lean-to. Sorry, it's been in like a million videos, that ongoing saga. Is it saga or saga? I just can't keep up with digging that thing out, so we're gonna take it off, cut the bottom off, deal with it being really short in the springtime. Now that I've got all my winter clothes on, let's take them all off and see what kind of mess there is underneath that bunk. Piper, come. I just noticed this last night, so I don't think it could have thawed out too much yet. You live with a giant fur monster, you take every opportunity to vacuum out the nooks and crannies. I see water instead of ice. That's good. Well, we got a mix. Last night there were icicles hanging off of this. There's a little bit of ice left on the floor. Kuiper, come. You know who likes ice. Go ahead, make a mess. I think this has never happened before. I don't think it's gotten so cold. Oh, so cold, and I wasn't here, so turn the heat all the way back. Wow, it's not even ice. I don't know what happened. There's some kind of a UFO thing. They came down these... What the heck is going on back there? He's got a hold of my pant leg. Are you being ignored? What was I saying? Something about UFOs? We'll get back to that at another time. This one was frozen enough to push water out of the top. This one's not even sweaty. I could make up a reason for that in my head, but I won't. We've got too much to do. I really don't want to drag all these out of here. That's exactly what the sled's for, so if they do get condensation on the outside of them, it just doesn't go on the floor. All that'll evaporate. Kind of curious though how much ice is in that one bucket. So it's just the bottom. This is sitting in the bottom of the bucket. So that's the cold from the floor radiating up, and maybe the sides froze a teensy bit, but not enough that it couldn't be thawed in one night of low heat. Yeah, I was at the store recently, and I knew these were sold. I just never thought to get one. Things out in the shower, but the little like handle thing that opens 5-gallon bucket lids, it was like less than $3. And with the number of buckets every year that I open, and especially when it's cold, you end up snapping this little seam right here, and then the bucket's no good because it leaks out of there. Should have got one a long time ago. Look at that. That's not wet at all. I want to open the furthest back one just to see if there's more ice in it. it's not wet underneath it. Why would that one bucket have frozen so much more than the rest? It was on the back wall, but so were the rest of them. The floor is, there's nothing underneath the floor. It's all insulated exactly the same. Well, let's look inside. You know what? I'll be right back. As much as anything, this keeps you from ripping your fingernails off, you know, and they catch the edge and it pops. It's the handiest chunk of plastic I've ever seen. I love it when somebody makes a product like this with 0 moving parts, and it works really well. Isn't that beautiful? Oh, it looks like about the same. Nope, it's thicker. Thicker on the bottom. Uh-oh, now I'm gonna make a mess. Oh God, oh God. I called it. I think. Yeah, I just had an idea. You might as well come with. This could take a second. You can come with too if you want. Sure is pretty out here. Not too much ice in there. We can just get that out. That's what I was hearing this morning. After an hour or two of having the heater on, I thought, of course, because you guys saw the last episode, I thought it was mice. It sounded exactly like mice, crunching, scurrying. And it was just those buckets warming up and the ice chunks breaking loose or fracturing. There. Yeah, this one's all busted all the way around. Just fine as long as you don't tip the bucket or put it in your car. No ice at all, 0. I don't get it. This is completely unnecessary. I just kind of wanted to use the tool. Guys like using tools, what did I say? Looks like a delicious shower right there. Looks like our wicked ugly cover we made held up even through the wind. Oh, am I ever going to be able to figure out where these knives hang if I take them off like that? I have to take a pic. I can't take a picture. Have to take a picture. We'll get it. We'll get it open. No, we won't. All right, now we can get them back on there. It's a pretty good selection right there, isn't it? You remember the old days when this thing didn't have any front on it at all? And I think it was like a month or multiple months where we just had another big raggedy tarp hanging over here you had to lift up to get inside. I guess we just take a big hunk off, and in the spring we'll put another board that hangs over. Man, look at this table. Just in like 2 days it's tipping over. Dang. That's chilly on the neck. Oh, that's the worst thing that's ever happened. Here's my headphone. I guess, are they waterproof? Under the sea. Yep, it still works. Did I just cut through a screw? I didn't. Of course I didn't. I checked. Oh, God. What size knife shim do we need? I think we're a log splitter short. Heck. Geometry sucks. Somebody hand me the drill. Quick. I am always curious to see how fasteners age. These have been these are the gold screws that I used for the first like 4 years for everything out here. And then the gray ones that are actually meant for outdoor I started using because the price came down, but this is the worst. These have been getting splattered and soaked up for 5 years. That's the worst of them. It has a little bit of rust on the tip, but nothing bad at all. You didn't need to switch to the outdoor. These are the, what, General or something? Oh yeah, you can tell this was early on in my milling career. All this cedar still has the bark on it. It's like summertime. Oh, it just feels good. Oh man, I got really close to hitting that screw. What a dope. Okay, now what were we trying to do in this video? I can't remember. Oh yeah, make a workbench. All right, I say we drive back there, find a couple of those logs, and see if we can get the four-wheeler stuck. If not, maybe we'll try to get them out of there. Wonder what it is we still have underneath this tent here. Oh, that's the big Y from the hanging coffee table. Ooh. Oh. This is the big old pine log I had in mind. I don't think that we're going to be able to get that out of here though. Yeah, it's not a big hill, but there's not really a straight shot down there, and there are a lot of lumps in it. For a leftover, that's a pretty big pine log. Yeah, I bet it's frozen to the ground too. The digger might be able to break it loose, but oh man, it would suck to get the digger stuck down here. I think with the traction it has and the winch, I'd be able to get it out of here, but I don't think I could do that by myself. When I got a winch for the four-wheeler, I really should have gotten one with a remote on it, although I was trying to keep the price down on everything. Let's see what this thing looks like in the other end. Let's look at got a bunch of bug holes in the top, although that is tempting. That's just one big piece. That's a workbench in itself. Because it's kind of funky dimensions and it has a couple of bug holes in it, probably not going to make a table out of it or anything. This might be the perfect use. All right, we're doing it. We got to back the trailer down here somehow. I'll figure it out. You just hang out. Keep an eye on the knucklehead over there, will ya? He's in up to his shoulders. What you doing, buddy? Oh, he's not. I thought his legs were all the way in there. Comfy? Looks like a giant black weasel or something with no legs. I think this is going to make a pretty good work surface. Oh, wow. Is that what dried lumber is like? You can pick it up with one hand? Amazing. I wonder if this is the first fully and properly dried piece of lumber I've had out here. It's been under a suspended tarp and stickered for a couple years. That is nuts. If only I wasn't always in such a hurry to build stuff. You know what I just thought of? It'd be kind of hard to get that digger stuck out here. I don't know if you can tell, but I'm not experienced with one of those. I'm just thinking, if you get that out, down at the bottom of the hill, trying to drive up, the tracks are spinning. Can't you just extend the bucket out, grab some earth, pull yourself forward? I think you could get back up the hill. I've never tried it. I've only got a day and a half using that thing. Let's think about that for a minute. We might have to try to get that thing stuck. I love getting stuff stuck. You know, now what we need is our workbench, our digger workbench, in order to build our workbench. I don't know if I mentioned that, but I'm actually building this one first in preparation for building that one. I already bought the bolts to go into the bucket right through those giant holes, but my brain isn't quite sure yet exactly how I'm going to build it, so I thought we'd go ahead and do this one first. Oh man, doing this out of one piece is kind of it takes all the project out of it. I was expecting to at least have to build the work surface. That's pretty good already, huh? "20 inches on that end, 25 on that end." I haven't heard him do that in weeks. Oh, you know what? He just spent a couple days playing with his girlfriend, Sarah's dog, that he is out of his mind obsessed with. We got back here last night. He slept until I turned the camera on this morning 17 hours straight. 17 hours. But the last time you guys saw when he was making all sorts of noises like that and howling was the day I got back from Sarah's. It's a hormonal thing, I'm pretty sure, because after that video where he howled like 20 times or something, the next day on until just now he has made not a peep. That's at least 3 weeks. Yeah, the edges of these had to get cut off because I got a 36-inch bar on the saw, which is right to there. And then by the time you clamp it on and everything, it had to be narrowed up. Wow, that is a stinking great work surface, and it's totally flat. There's our, actually I think those are ant holes. You know what'll be fun is when it warms up, I think I'll just like tape the bottom side of this and pour resin in these just to fill the holes. Not that the holes really make any difference. What's that, buddy? Missing your girlfriend, huh? We're gonna use that side. I think all I want it to do is not slide side to side. I like that you can do this because I can get at my tools down there. So let's just go ahead and chop this thing off, make some straight edges. Yeah, let's go get some warm batteries, eh? I still haven't replaced the blades on this since I hit a screw or something in one of the previous episodes. He's trying to get his bones out of his bone bin again. Do me a favor. Here you go. There you go. Use the bed, buddy. It's just one nick and the blades are brand new, so we're just gonna keep going with it, I think. It takes a while to put the new ones in and then get them all lined up just right. Ah, this is the perfect size workbench. Yeah, 6 feet long, just right. If I was gonna have some kind of a fixed workbench, I'd want it another 2 feet longer than this probably. Then again, I don't deal with a whole lot of full sheets of plywood out here, so maybe it doesn't matter. Guess we might as well freshen up the ends. You know what? We might have to take this in the cabin tonight, pour some resin. If we're gonna do that, we'll have to take the resin in right now. I suppose I could use either the tabletop or the deep pour, whichever one sets the fastest. Recoat after 4 to 6 hours, allow 24 hours before use. That's pretty good. We'll put those on the heater shelf. You know, it's been a long time since I put a new blade on here. I think I have a matching one to this. Man, what are you supposed to do with your old saw blades? I went through so many when I was trying to rip really thick, wet lumber like a year or two ago. Gosh, I guess I only have one more new one. It sure seems like these would be easy to sharpen. I mean, I know they're like carbide tipped, but you'd only have to take just a little bit off the top of that. I think maybe I need to stick these under the microscope and look at the edge. If they're clearly all dinged up and chipped and worn down, or if they still look perfect. Yeah, it's impossible to tell just by feeling them. Just for curiosity's sake, I would touch the edge of all these with the Dremel right now, but Dremel batteries are frozen. Guess I'll save my one new blade for when we really need it. I wonder if these would make a cool sounding wind chime. Probably sound like banging two baking sheets together. Could be interesting. Guess we might as well knock down the other side a little bit. You taking that away, buddy? Oh. Ah, jeez. Look what you've done. You had to take that big wide stick and try to walk underneath the tripod. It's a good thing this thing's waterproof. That's why you use a GoPro. You feeling okay? You hiding from the wind, buddy? If it were anything but a workbench, I would probably try to seal this whole thing so that the rainwater and snow melt and everything doesn't get into it, but I think there are going to be so many cuts and holes and everything. If it's all sealed up, the water gets in there and has no way to get out. Ooh, that's kind of cool. If this was going to be the top, I'd probably do that deep pour epoxy in there, but I don't think it's really going to matter on the bottom side. The only spot I saw that's soft is right here. I guess we might as well dig a bunch of that out of there and fill it up. It's going to be a little bit wider and deeper than you're supposed to do with that epoxy, but that's okay. I don't really care if it doesn't come out too nice for a workbench. I was kind of thinking we'd put a couple strips, little tiny strips of wood just to hold that in place there, but I guess there's no reason to not just use the router or the circular saw just to put a little tiny channel in there, right? And then if you ever wanted to lay this flat on something, you could. I don't know why you'd want to, but yeah, let's just route some channels in there. So what if I did raid the movie theater? I couldn't help it, I needed junk food. The candy's been gone for quite a while. It evaporates. I don't know if you knew that about candy, it does. Man, it is not that cold today, but that breeze is going right through me. I'm actually getting chilled. I'm not hardly ever cold when I'm outside, except like the first few minutes of the day. Once I get moving, I'm fine. I'm starting to feel it in my bones a little bit. Well, we're about done with this for the day. I'm go inside and do some epoxying. It's as solid as the trailer is. I like it. That's great. I spread some boots and stuff around here so he would go lay in the doghouse and not be in my way. And he just managed to find himself a body-shaped hole there. Okay, that was a little bit too much. I can see the board bending sideways. We just don't want to epoxy blow out like last time. It's always good to keep a hardcover book around, preferably physics. I find that works best. Man, that was some special ice. I sat out there for like a half an hour waiting for it to melt. This cabin floor ice is different stuff. All right, let's do this real quick because we got to eat. Kuiper and I already have our salads made up. He eats salads. He's kind of weird. I think he might be a hippie. Wow, this is going to take a lot. That is a big void. And this goes all the way in and connects with this deep one. All of these are connected, actually. I blew some air in there and felt around. I think there's only one, well, these two, I guess, that are dead ends. Jeez, if I'd have thought of pouring that much into the cup, I would have used a different cup because my blender doesn't fit in these things. Well, I guess we could do a partial blending. This is like an old kit drill. It sounds way different when you're used to using brushless. These little tiny ones that go on forever and ever, but don't let the air out that take so long to fill. I just remembered this is a workbench and not a fancy table, which means if I dump too much on any of this, I use the power planer, knock it down. So all these little holes that just keep bubbling and bubbling, I'm just gonna, before this sets up, just gonna frickin' dump it on there. And then it can suck down as much as it wants. If it hardens over, that's totally fine. That's probably my best chance of not having enduring little rabbit holes. Is it rabbits? It could be rabbits. Not that it matters if it has some holes in it. See how she's doing. Not bad. It's not, I mean, it's tappable. Yeah, we're getting there. Do you know what I realized after I poured all this? I started mixing that with a tongue depressor, switched to the buzzerator, pulled it out, wiped it off, and just started pouring. I never even scraped the side of the cup or the bottom of the cup or anything. So there was tons of unmixed epoxy in there. Just is what it is. I guess we'll see if it sets up. It feels like it's going to set up eventually. That Tyvek tape is some serious stuff. Yeah, just about, look at that. Takes a layer of wood off. It works though. We didn't have any leaks. While we're waiting for that to harden up, I say, let's go see if we can get the digger stuck. So when I do the workbench attached to the bucket, I think I want to use that log down there. Make something kind of funky. Plus, you know, we kind of got to know the limits of that thing. And it might just be fun as well. Can't go anywhere without your treat bag. Yeah, I really wanted to look at those saw blade teeth, but I got out my little handheld microscope and it doesn't work. I can't get it to connect, and I could get out the good microscopes, but they're just not the best when you have something big and flat like that and you want to try to look at the edge. I don't think it'd work very well. So it's charging right now. I don't know, maybe the battery was too low to work right. What an idiot. That's what we were trying to avoid with the cover right there. Jeez, I thought it was windy yesterday. Gust to 45 today. There's gonna be some trees coming down. Well, that's what this is for. God, Ah, such a satisfying mechanism. That's quite tippy. I think I better use both hands here. I'm assured that the hydraulic thumb should be on its way shortly. Until then, I'm still trying to figure out how to use this thing. What? So this is all the way down, puts this all the way forward, which in my head means you can have the whole bucket a lot closer to the machine for the same angle there. If you put it all the way up here, coming out that way, then you could reach way out and grab something, but this is so heavy, I don't know if that'll work. However, I might be looking at this wrong. I might actually want to get the bucket like underneath the log to support it. Let's switch it all the way the other way and see if it'll pick it up. Realistically, you probably want it in the middle. There's a reason there's 3 settings. Let's try it anyway. It may just kind of be too big a log for this little thing. If you look at the diameter, it's about maybe from here to here. So I guess maybe the thing to do is just to put a strap on it, like I would tow it behind the four-wheeler. And you could use the machine to grab the strap and kind of heave it that way and lift it that way to get it up the hill. And actually that would be nice because you wouldn't need that much traction. I don't think it's going to have any problem driving back up this. I kind of forgot I cut that path. It's probably hard to tell on the camera, but this is kind of just rolling. This has a lot of weird lumps and bumps that are, I don't know, I think it's a little scary to drive that thing on. Let's call that dry enough. Love it. Absolutely love it. I'm kind of wondering though if I shouldn't have dumped resin all over the top of it and or a bunch of varnish to seal it. I don't know. If I leave it like this, I'm gonna have to find some place to store it. It's just not like laying on a stump out here. So after a season or two of soaking up water and drying back out, it'll be a complete wrecking. Just so nice and flat. Kind of amazed. Just not sure where the line between art piece table and workbench is. I'm definitely tempted to take the router to all the edges just a little bit, but sometimes it's nice on a workbench to have a 90-degree side on it. I think for the time being, we're just going to leave it like that. All my screens have just been slung underneath here, and I finally decided to hang them up there, and now I'm thinking that would be the perfect spot just to be able to plop that workbench. So it's covered up by that overhang. We'll figure something out. I guess we'll just throw it in the man cave for now until this snow's done with. You know what, let's just brainstorm for 1 minute on this other workbench. So we can pull the bucket all the way in like that. We've got these two holes pointing out. Lots of threads there. I think we'll put some kind of big ass block on there. Maybe rip something out of a log. Shape it to this. Put a nut and washer on here, and maybe the workbench sits on top. Something like that. I think that's gonna work great. And if it doesn't, it'll still be fun to build. I think it'll be really fun to build. This is gonna be bonkers fun. I actually thought with the arm all the way out like that, that there'd be a lot more bounce to it, but that's like a totally usable work surface. The only thing is there's not going to be any way to level it. You're going to have to make sure you park levelly. I didn't think of that, did I? Well, that's just something you got to figure in when you're going to use it, I guess. The thing that would be really fun to do is put some like shelves or cabinetry or something on the back of it. I notice you're paying attention. What do you think? What are your thoughts? Anything in particular you're thinking? Or maybe we do this sort of modular style. We do the bench, and then we have something we can either clip or bolt on, or even just put a couple screws in. Well, we got a day or two to think about it. I think the wind is supposed to be done by tomorrow, although right now it just dropped off. So maybe in a couple days we'll try dragging that log, do some milling, see if the big chainsaw still runs. It's been a long freaking time since I've done that. Still don't have any solutions for my back. I'm waiting and waiting and waiting to get in for some different injections. I can use this thing to pick logs up and move boards around and all that. You can't really pick up the giant chainsaw mill using this thing, and it's all on your lower back. Even if you're holding it in tight, you're just using those muscles to pick it up. We'll do what we can. We'll mill on the days I feel good. I think you should be able to drop this without the key on, right? Perfect. I just out of nowhere had a thought, and I checked. There was a setting on my phone that wouldn't allow me to hook up to that microscope. Every like 3 or 4 months, I go through my phone, go through every single setting and turn everything off that doesn't have to be on. All the tracking and information sharing and gathering and all that crap. I just don't think they need all that. Let's take a quick look at those blades. Piper, come. See if my supposition was correct here. There's a carbide tip. Let's look at the new one first for comparison. I was gonna make sure you put this the right way or it'll make you crazy trying to move this thing around. Yep, that looks dang sharp. Kind of need something underneath here. How about a dog treat lid? Yep, that looks quite sharp. Let's get a couple angles. Kuiper, are you helping? You can see some tiny little, actually let's see if we can zoom in more. I can actually see chips. Yeah, you can see the front edge is chipped off a little bit on the new one. Here, this is the exact same blade, I think, yeah. We got all sorts of wood fiber and crap on there. It actually looks almost identical, other than all the schmutz on there. Huh. Alright, let's do one more angle on a different tooth. That pretty much to me looks identical. You decide. I am impressed. All right, let's try the nastiest one in the pile here. Might have to deschmutzify one of these a little bit. Even just from the naked eye, it does not look dented or dinged or anything. Wow, it actually looks pretty good. I mean, if you look at all the garbage on here, you can clearly see that would slow your saw down a bit. It's all like burnt on resin and wood pulp. Interesting. I think I'm just going to put these in a Tupperware with a bunch of rubbing alcohol and clean them completely up and put them back in my stash. At least that way, if I have a whole bunch more ripping to do, I could go through the whole pile of them and then clean them all again later. Oh, here's the, I assume, cheapo one that came with that saw. This probably has a lot of hours on it. Now that one is dinged up. I mean, it doesn't look horrible. Like for cross-cutting, I gotta think that would still be fine. Very interesting. Ooh, there's one with the whole corner of the tooth chipped off. Oh, that one's busted off too. That's a wind chime. Chunk. Let's see one of these stamped blades that's not carbide. Just a chunk of metal. Wow. That's the cutting edge on the left side. How could that even cut a piece of wood? Yeah, there's the tip of the cutting corner. Chrome King. Here's the same thing. Just a stamped blade. Wow. That's what you're cutting with? Crazy. That was interesting now, wasn't it? Jeez Pete. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate you. We'll see you again next Saturday morning. We'll probably be using the first workbench to build the second workbench. I'm thinking if we have the lumber or I can make the lumber, we might as well build something big and ridiculous. You know why it's going to have to be modular? If it's tall, if you got like a bookshelf on top, you're going to at least have to take it off of there and lay it down to transport the thing. Because you've seen how bumpy the ride is on the excavator, and even if the boom's curled all the way in, that thing's still going to be getting whipped around and the top will for sure break off. I think Sarah might be coming up soon too, so there's a chance she and I might be making a video together. We got a whole bunch of stuff that we've been meaning to do for, God, some of it's been on the list for over a year, maybe 2 years. Like, she brought part of her bug collection here months ago to look at under the microscope. We haven't done that, and I still have those petri dishes, so we're gonna swab some weird stuff and grow some stuff. And if we have the microscopes out, we were gonna try to find some tardigrades, some water bears. Who knows? Come on back if you want. Might be something completely different. See you next Saturday.